When you think of a gold bar, you probably have a pretty specific picture in mind. It's sturdy, shiny, solid, square, clean, pure. A stackable extra valuable brick of sorts. That's true today, sure. But it hasn't always been the case. Not globally. And not even domestically here in the United States. When it comes to the gold bar, also known historically as bullion, there's some interesting historical building blocks at play. While today's gold bars are typically uniform in size, shape and form, some subtle differences can tell a trained eye when and where a gold bar was cast. Before 1986, gold bars cast in the US looked like rectangular bricks. Today, US cast bars are trapezoidal in shape, conforming to the long-established international standard for bars. Markings on the side of a gold bar also reveal information about its production, including its melt, the molten gold from which the bar is made, fineness and purity. A gold refiner's stamp seal can also identify where the gold was cast. Registered serial numbers and sometimes even holograms are used by some gold bullion makers as a security measure. Another interesting fact about modern gold bars. They're not 100% pure gold, allowing them to preserve their original shape, making them easier to stack, store and move. The non-gold material within a gold bar is typically copper, iron, platinum or gold's less loved runner-up, silver. Traces of silver or platinum tend to give the gold bar a whitish shade, while iron produces a greenish hue, and copper leads to redder-looking bars. Now, let's take an even closer look at the gold bar starting with its ancient and classical roots. Ingots and tall stories. Let's first flash back to ancient Rome, circa 65 AD. The author Tacitus, writing in Annals, Book XVI, describes a tall story told by a Carthaginian man named Caecilius Bassus in an attempt to win favor with the money-hungry emperor Nero Claudius Caesar. Some scholars have described Bassus as a lunatic, something Nero himself is also often described as, among many other choice words. Bassus claimed to know the location of immense stores of gold, not wrought into the form of coin, but in rude and shapeless ingots, such as were in use in the early ages of the world. The gold was never located by Nero's men, but we do learn a bit about the ingot, a sort of primitive gold bar that was made from pouring molten gold into molds, which were often made of clay. According to some accounts, Romans were even using gold bullion as currency in Mesopotamia all the way back in the 7th millennium BC. Lost at sea now, let's fast forward all the way to the summer 1622. Aiming for a return home following an ambitious and dangerous New World treasure expedition, a fleet of nearly 30 Spanish galleons are caught in the gnashing teeth of a hurricane. The storms weren't given names and tracked on the Weather Channel back then, out in the Gulf of Mexico. 9 of the ships sink, and hundreds of people perish at sea, including several Spanish nobles. Also sinking to the briny depths of the ocean. Untold treasures, including emeralds, pearls, silver and gold coins and bars. The loss was so severe that it crippled the Bank of Madrid and also helped sink the once mighty Spanish Empire, which had been drowning in debt in recent years and was banking on the successful return of its commissioned treasure fleet. Many years later, in 1985, an American treasure hunter named Mel Fisher discovered the wreckage of the Nuestra Señora de Atocha in the Florida Keys, culminating a 16-year personal search. One of the 9 ships lost in the maelstrom back in 1622, it still housed an astonishing 40 tons of treasure, including Colombian emeralds and silver and gold bars. Many of those treasures were later placed up for auction in 2015, including an ornate gold spoon believed to have been used during communion by Spanish priests looking to convert indigenous people of the New World. More recently, in 2013, Florida deep-sea divers discovered the remains of the Buen Jesus y Nuestra Señora del Rosario located some 400 miles off the Keys and 400 meters beneath the ocean's surface. Another member of the sunken 1622 fleet, it was packed full of around 17,000 artifacts, including pearls, silver coins and gold bars. This is just scratching the surface of the ocean when it comes to shipwrecks and lost treasures. In fact, it's estimated that the global ocean floor is home to as many as 3 million shipwrecks, with untold billions of dollars worth of treasure sitting inside them, including scores of silver and gold coins and bars. Fort Knox and the US Federal Reserve know. Let's return to the here and now. Here in America, we invest heavily in security. And in 2020 America, a massive stash of gold bars is socked away in a few seriously secure locations. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York hosts a vault containing the world's largest gold depository. Located a full 80 feet below street level, it is home to around 508,000 gold bullion bars weighing some 6,350 tons. The current estimate of these gold bars is at least $260 billion. That's billions in bullions, say that fast 5 times. Since the current market value of a gold bar depends on several factors like weight and purity level, the New York Fed uses the United States official book value of $42.222 per troy ounce for gold holdings. Most of the US gold in the vault arrived during and after World War II, and the vast majority of the gold stored there belongs to 60 other foreign governments, central banks and international organizations. Another famous home to gold, made infamous by the classic 1964 James Bond film Goldfinger, is Fort Knox, a U.S. Army post located 35 miles south of Louisville, Kentucky and home to the U.S. Bullion Depository. A certified Kentucky city in its own right, Fort Knox encompasses 109,000 acres across 3 counties, and its super-fortified vault building, officially known as the United States Bullion Depository, houses a large portion of the official U.S. gold reserves, along with other treasures belonging to or entrusted to the government. The fortress-like depository was completed in 1936, and its iron-clad underground vault is lined with granite walls and guarded by a blast-proof, 20-ton door. As of 2017, Fort Knox houses 4,582 metric tons, or 147.3 million troy ounces, of gold. The market value of all that gold? Around $100 billion. ALL told, the United States holds more gold than any other country, more than 8,100 metric tons. That's close to 2.4 times the 3,400 metric tons of gold housed in Germany, the next leading country, when it comes to gold supply. Additional gold security. Zillion chances are, you don't have your own personal Fort Knox. Unless you're a successful treasure hunter, or big baller. But you likely do possess some treasured valuables, whether it's a gold bracelet or a diamond wedding ring. No matter what your own treasured jewelry is valued at, it pays to buy some peace of mind when it comes to its protection and safeguarding. Some of that can be accomplished via smart, safe, secure storage. The rest can be afforded when you purchase a jewelry insurance protection plan from Zillion.see. How Zillion can help in physical ounce and United States dollars volume terms. We are smack right in the midst of the greatest gold and silver bull market the world has ever seen. Because of this fact, there is plenty of enough demand for honest bullion businessmen to flourish and prosper alongside their hard-saving customer bases. Time to cover a bit on silver and gold's history and why they are in their greatest secular bull market ever. Millennial money eshement beings have coveted silver and gold consistently for more than 6,000 years. Gold treasures have been found dating back to as early as 4000 BC in a burial site in Varna, Bulgaria, from the ancient Thracian civilization. By 3600 BC, Egyptian goldsmiths began melting gold ores to separate the metals inside. They used blowpipes made from fire-resistant clay to heat the smelting furnace. As early as 3100 BC we have evidence of a gold-to-silver value ratio in the Code of Means, the founder of the first Egyptian dynasty. In the Means Code it is stated 1 part of gold is equal to 2.5 parts of silver in value. People began mining silver in 3000 BC in modern-day Turkey. Our ancestors used tons of silver fashioning valuable ornaments, jewelry, and eating utensils, this in part due to silver's ductility and natural antibacterial properties. When Spanish explorers arrived in the New World of Central and South America, 15th and 16th centuries, they encountered different native peoples. The Spanish and Incas had very little in common. Diverse old native Indian cultures spoke entirely different languages than European Spaniards, they worshipped entirely different gods, and they lived very different lives day to day. What they both did hold in common was a high esteem for gold and silver, using them to craft some of their life's most important tangible objects, religious items used in rituals, jewelry for adornment, coins for trade. Gold and silver became de facto money around 600 BC, when they were struck in Lydian coins as stores of value used for trade. For over 2,500 years, silver and gold monies have proven themselves as the ultimate monies. Silver and gold indeed have the best historic track records as money. These two precious monetary metals, by their inherent natures, are human beings' most excellent monies. Here are some historic and modern-day essential qualities of great money. Provenance August 15, 1971. The world for the first time began being operated on a 100% fiat currency reserve and faith-based monetary system. This was the date when former U.S. President Richard Nixon cut the last ties between gold and the U.S. Federal Reserve note, mistakenly called U.S. dollars to this day. Today all physical and digital government-issued currencies are fiat, their creation conjured by a computer and printing presses. Their values are based on people's faith and confidence. A gold bar, also called gold bullion or gold ingot, is a quantity of refined metallic gold of any shape that is made by a bar producer meeting standard conditions of manufacture, labeling, and record keeping. Larger gold bars that are produced by pouring the molten metal into molds are called ingots. Smaller bars may be manufactured by minting or stamping from appropriately rolled gold sheets. The standard gold bar held as gold reserves by central banks and traded among bullion dealers is the 400 troy ounce, 12.4 kilogram, 438.9 ounce, good delivery gold bar. The kilobar, which is 1000 grams, 32.15 troy ounces, in mass, and a 100 troy ounce gold bar are the bars that are more manageable and are used extensively for trading and investment. The premium on these bars, when traded, is very low over the spot value of the gold, making it ideal for small transfers between banks and traders. Most kilobars are flat, although some investors, particularly in Europe, prefer the brick shape. Two Asian markets differ in that they prefer gram gold bars as opposed to troy ounce measurements. Popular sizes in the Asian region include 10 grams, 100 grams and 1000 gram bars. 3 Based upon how they are manufactured, gold bars are categorized as having been cast or minted, with both differing in their appearance and price. 1 Cast bars are created in a similar method to that of ingots, whereby molten gold is poured into a bar-shaped mold and left to solidify. This process often leads to malformed bars with uneven surfaces which, although imperfect, make each bar unique and easier to identify. Cast bars are also cheaper than minted bars because they are quicker to produce and require less handling. Minted bars are made from gold blanks that have been cut to a required dimension from a flat piece of gold. These are identified by having smooth and even surfaces. Security FEATURES edit to prevent bars from being counterfeited or stolen. Manufacturers have developed ways to verify genuine bars, with the most common way being to brand bars with registered serial numbers or providing a certificate of authenticity. In a recent trend, many refineries would stamp serial numbers even on the smallest bars, and the number on the bar should match the number on its accompanying certificate. 4 In contrast to cast bars, which are often handled directly, minted bars are generally sealed in protective packaging to prevent tampering and keep them from becoming damaged. A hologram security feature known as a kingram can also be inserted into the packaging. Bars that contain these arcalate gold is measured in troy ounces, often simply referred to as ounces when the reference to gold is evident. 1 troy ounce is equivalent to 31.10347768 grams. Commonly encountered in daily life is the avoirdupois ounce, an imperial weight in countries still using British weights and measures or United States customary units. The avoirdupois ounce is lighter than the troy ounce. 1 avoirdupois ounce equals 28.34952312 grams. 6 The super size is worth more than the standard gold bar held and traded internationally by central banks and bullion dealers is the good delivery bar with a 400 ozt, 12.4 kilograms, 438.9 ounces, nominal weight. However, its precise gold content is permitted to vary between 350 ozt, 10.9 kilograms, 384.0 ounces, and 430 ozt, 13.4 kilograms, 471.8 ounces. The minimum purity required is 99.5% gold. These bars must be stored in recognized and secure gold bullion vaults to maintain their quality status of good delivery. The recorded provenance of this bar assures integrity and maximum resale value. 71 ton equals 1000 kilograms equals 32,150.746 troy ounces. One kilogram equals 1000 grams equals 32.150746556 troy ounces. One toll equals 11.66380338 grams equals 0.375 troy ounces. One tail equals 50 grams. Notes 1 tt. 10 tola equals 117 grams, 3.75 ounces. Tola is a traditional Indian measure for the weight of gold and prevalent to this day. Many international gold manufacturers supply tola bars of 999.96 purity. Gold bars have a long and ancient history. The earliest type of gold bars were ingots made from pouring molten gold into molds, most probably initially made from clay. Reference is made to an early type of ingot by Roman author Tacitus, Annals, Book XVI, who mentions a tall story told by one Caecilius Bassus to win the favor of Emperor Nero. Bassus claimed to know the whereabouts of immense stores of gold, not wrought into the form of coin, but in rude and shapeless ingots, such as were in use in the early ages of the world. The gold was never found, but the tale illustrates that in pre-Roman times, an ingot was a known commodity, but one that might not necessarily have been bar-shaped. Although in modern times, most of the world's gold is mined in Africa, it was not always so. During the 18th century, Brazil was the foremost gold producer. Most of the gold that had been mined came to London, and there are a number of references to gold bars in the literature of the period. However, these sources typically do not mention the size or purity of the bars, merely the total value of the bullion. This itself is an indicator that in those days the gold bars may well have been of non-standard size, and this seems likely seeing as that they were melted and poured into molds, rather than pressed. The Bank of England created the first official gold reserves and had gold minted into guineas, which were the standard gold currency coin of the day. Towards the end of the 18th century, however, gold became scarce and much was either exported or used to finance military operations. 400 ounces gold bar. Historian has proven difficult to ascertain when the first standard-sized 400 ounces gold bars were made. Timothy Green and Stuart Murray have published a short 60-page book entitled History of the London Good Delivery List, 1750 to 2010, which would likely resolve the matter. From the title it would appear that there was standardization of gold bars as far back as 1750. I have not read the book, although it is available from the LBMA and from Amazon UK. 2 in 1810, gold bars at 200 ounces and 916 fine, crown gold 22 carat, were accepted by the Bank of England's bullion office from just one refiner, Brown and Bryant. 3 From this 200-ounce standard it seems plausible that 400-ounce bars may also have been in existence at THS time. There are few references to 400-ounce gold bars from the 19th century, but they were certainly in use at this time. The earliest account of 400 ounces gold bars. The Proceedings of the American Philosophical Society, Jan. March 1838, describes on p. 321 a scientific experiment on the conduction of electricity and steam, stating the experimenters caused a steam to strike upon a large bar of fine gold, 400 ounces in weight. One of the oldest written mentions I have been able to locate of the 400 ounces gold bar being manufactured as a commercial standard comes from 1890 in Arthur Horseman Hearn's Mixed Metals, or metallic alloys, where he states the gold is sent from the Bank of England to the mint in ingots of 400 ounces each. p. 385. This is not the only account of 400-ounce gold bars from the 1890s. A fascinating 1891 reprint from the London edition of the New York Herald has a full description of the vaults of the Bank of England of the day, describing the gold bullion as being made up in 400-ounce bars. 6. During this period it appears that there may have also been a smaller standard size for gold bullion bars at 6x 3x 1.5 inches. An article from the Merchant's Magazine and Commercial Review, Volume 20, dated 1849, describes a medium-sized gold bar of the day as weighing 275 ounces. The most important class of gold bars from London and Paris, chiefly the latter, bear the mark of the government or private assayer. They are styled pure gold. The French indemnity, in 1835, was paid to this country USA in upwards of 600 bars, the aggregate value of which was $3,500,000. A bar of fine gold, 6 inches long 3 inches wide, and 1.5 thick, which is the medium size, would weigh 275 ounces. Its value would be about $5,900. 7. However, in modern times there appear to be no examples of 275-ounce fine gold bars. With the development of modern manufacturing methods, many of the gold bars now manufactured are minted to extremely high standards of finish and precision. However, the older style cast bars are still common and considered equally desirable by most, owing chiefly to their gold content, but perhaps also their aesthetics. A study of 775 fiat currencies produced by dollardays.org states that there is no record of a fiat currency that has succeeded in holding its value over the long term. 20% or 155 of the fiat currencies examined failed through hyperinflation, 21% were destroyed by war, 12% destroyed by independence, 24% were monetarily reformed, and 23% are still in circulation approaching one of the other outcomes. The study found the average life expectancy for a fiat currency is 27 years, with the shortest lifespan being 1 month. The British pound sterling, founded in 1694, is the oldest fiat currency in existence. At over 320 years of age, it must be considered one of the most highly successful fiat currencies ever, but note that the British pound didn't start out as a full-fledged fiat currency. The British pound was originally defined as 12 ounces of silver, but after Britain ended the pound's ties to the gold standard in 1931, and the pound's value precipitously fell. The once proud reserve currency of the world is now worth less than 1/200th, or 0.5% of its original value. In other words, the most successful long-standing currency in existence has lost 99.5% of its value. So it is historic fact that fiat currencies only last a handful of decades, typically while they eventually all end worthless. The same cannot be said for silver or gold monies. About 90–95% of all the physical gold ever mined is still with us today. Physical silver, well, not so much, but more on dwindling silver supply facts later. Since the start of the 21st century to the middle of the year 2014, gold had gained 374% in its median nominal price versus 117 floating fiat currencies still in existence through that same time span. Many paper fiat currencies imploded, were devalued, or went out of existence in that 14.5-year time span. Likewise, silver saw an increase of 307% in its median nominal price versus 117 floating fiat currencies. This trend of paper-digital fiat currencies losing their value to silver and gold bullion is showing no signs of slowing down over the long term. Throughout this decade, humanity is relearning the historic lessons that gold is money par excellence and that silver is mankind's most trusted money for day-to-day commerce. These repeat lessons are for the first time in human history unfolding simultaneously on a global scale. I suggest we buckle up and prepare for interesting and possibly chaotic times ahead. Homer in the Iliad and Odyssey makes mention of gold as the glory of the immortals and a sign of wealth among ordinary humans. In Genesis 2:10–12, we learn of the river Pison out of Eden and the land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. As far back as 3100 BC, we have evidence of a gold-silver value ratio in the Code of Menes, the founder of the first Egyptian dynasty. In this code it is stated that 1 part of gold is equal to 2½ parts of silver in value. This is our earliest of a value relationship between gold and silver. In ancient Egypt, around the time of Seti I, 1320 BC, we find the creation of the first gold treasure map now known to us. Today, in the Turin Museum is a papyrus and fragments known as the Carte des Mines d'Or. It pictures gold mines, miners' quarters, road leading to the mines and gold-bearing mountains, and so on. Where is that gold mine located? Well, you know how it is with treasure maps, there's always something a little vague about them to throw you off the trail. Modern thought is that it portrays the Wadi Fawakir region in which the El Cid gold mine is located, but the matter is far from settled. Jason and the Argonauts sought the Golden Fleece around 1200 BC. That Greek myth makes more sense when you realize that the fleece that it refers to is the sheep's fleece used in the recovery of fine placer gold. Early miners would use water power to propel gold-bearing sand over the hide of a sheep, which would trap the tiny, but heavy, flakes of gold. When the fleece had absorbed all it could hold, this golden fleece was hung up to dry, and when dry would be beaten gently so that the gold would fall off and be recovered. This primitive form of hydraulic mining began thousands of years ago and was still being used by some miners as recently as the California gold rush of 1849. The first use of gold as money occurred around 700 BC when Lydian merchants produced the first coins. These were simply stamped lumps of a 63% gold and 27% silver mixture known as electrum. This standardized unit of value no doubt helped Lydian traders in their wide-ranging successes, for by the time of Croesus of Myrmidon, the last king of Lydia, 570–546 BC, Lydia had amassed a huge hoard of gold. Today, we still speak of the ultra-wealthy as being rich as Croesus. Who discovered gold? A child finds a shiny rock in a creek thousands of years ago, and the human race is introduced to gold for the first time. Gold was first discovered as shining, yellow nuggets. Gold is where you find it, so the saying goes, and gold was first discovered in its natural state, in streams all over the world. No doubt it was the first metal known to early hominids. Gold became a part of every human culture. Its brilliance, natural beauty, and luster, and its great malleability and resistance to tarnish made it enjoyable to work and play with. Where does gold come from? Because gold is dispersed widely throughout the geologic world, its discovery occurred to many different groups in many different locales. And nearly everyone who found it was impressed with it, and so was the developing culture in which they lived. Gold was the first metal widely known to our species. When thinking about the historical progress of technology, we consider the development of iron and copper working as the greatest contributions to our species' economic and cultural progress, but gold came first. Gold is the easiest of the metals to work. It occurs in a virtually pure and workable state, whereas most other metals tend to be found in ore bodies that pose some difficulty in smelting. Gold's early uses were no doubt ornamental, and its brilliance and permanence, it neither corrodes nor tarnishes, linked it to deities and royalty in early civilizations. Gold has always been powerful stuff. The earliest history of human interaction with gold is long lost to us, but its association with the gods, with immortality, and with wealth itself are common to many cultures throughout the world. Early civilizations equated gold with gods and rulers, and gold was sought in their name and dedicated to their glorification. Humans almost intuitively place a high value on gold, equating it with power, beauty, and the cultural elite. And since gold is widely distributed all over the globe, we find this same thinking about gold throughout ancient and modern civilizations everywhere. Gold, beauty, and power have always gone together. Gold in ancient times was made into shrines and idols, the golden calf, plates, cups, vases, and vessels of all kinds, and of course, jewelry for personal adornment. With gold of Troy treasure hoard, excavated in Turkey and dating to the era 2450–2600 BC, show the range of gold work from delicate jewelry to a gold gravy boat weighing a full Troy pound. This was a time when gold was highly valued, but had not yet become money itself. Rather, it was owned by the powerful and well-connected, or made into objects of worship, or used to decorate sacred locations. Gold has always had value to humans, even before it was money. This is demonstrated by the extraordinary efforts made to obtain it. Prospecting for gold was a worldwide effort going back thousands of years, even before the first money in the form of gold coins appeared about 700 BC. In the quest for gold by the Phoenicians, Egyptians, Indians, Hittites, Chinese, and others, prisoners of war were sent to work the mines, as were slaves and criminals. And this happened during a time when gold had no value as money, but was just considered a desirable commodity in and of itself. The value of gold was accepted all over the world. Today, as in ancient times, the intrinsic appeal of gold itself has that universal appeal to humans. But how did gold come to be a commodity, a measurable unit of value? Gold, measured out, became money. Gold's beauty, scarcity, unique density, no other metal outside the platinum group is as heavy, and the ease by which it could be melted, formed, and measured made it a natural trading medium. Gold gave rise to the concept of money itself, portable, private, and permanent. Gold and silver, in standardized coins, came to replace barter arrangements and made trade in the classic period much easier. Gold was money in ancient Greece. The Greeks mined for gold throughout the Mediterranean and Middle East regions by 550 BC, and both Plato and Aristotle wrote about gold and had theories about its origins. Gold was associated with water, logical, since most of it was found in streams, and it was supposed that gold was a particularly dense combination of water and sunlight. The Incas referred to gold as the tears of the Sunday. Euhemer in the Iliad and Odyssey makes mention of gold as the glory of the immortals and a sign of wealth among ordinary humans. In Genesis 2:10-12, we learn of the river Pison out of Eden and the land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. As far back as 3100 BC, we have evidence of a gold-silver value ratio in the Code of Means, the founder of the first Egyptian dynasty. In this code it is stated that 1 part of gold is equal to 2 1/2 parts of silver in value. This is our earliest of a value relationship between gold and silver. In ancient Egypt, around the time of Seti I, 1320 BC, we find the creation of the first gold treasure map now known to us. Today, in the Turin Museum is a papyrus and fragments known as the Carte des Mines d'Or. It pictures gold mines, miners' quarters, road leading to the mines and gold-bearing mountains, and so on. Where is that gold mine located? Well, you know how it is with treasure maps, there's always something a little vague about them to throw you off the trail. Modern thought is that it portrays the Wadi Fawakir region in which the El Cid gold mine is located, but the matter is far from settled. Jason and the Argonauts sought the Golden Fleece around 1200 BC. That Greek myth makes more sense when you realize that the fleece that it refers to is the sheep's fleece used in the recovery of fine placer gold. Early miners would use water power to propel gold-bearing sand over the hide of a sheep, which would trap the tiny, but heavy, flakes of gold. When the fleece had absorbed all it could hold, this golden fleece was hung up to dry, and when dry would be beaten gently so that the gold would fall off and be recovered. This primitive form of hydraulic mining began thousands of years ago and was still being used by some miners as recently as the California gold rush of 1849. The first use of gold as money occurred around 700 BC when Lydian merchants produced the first coins. These were simply stamped lumps of a 63% gold and 27% silver mixture known as electrum. This standardized unit of value no doubt helped Lydian traders in their wide-ranging successes, for by the time of Croesus of Myrmidon, the last king of Lydia, 570–546 BC, Lydia had amassed a huge hoard of gold. Today, we still speak of the ultra-wealthy as being rich as Croesus. Their science may have been primitive, but the Greeks learned much about the practicalities of gold mining. By the time of the death of Alexander of Macedon, 323 BC, the Greeks had mined gold from the Pillars of Hercules, Gibraltar, all the way eastward to Asia Minor and Egypt, and we find traces of their placer mines today. Some of the mines were owned by the state, some were worked privately with a royalty paid to the state. Also, nomads such as the Scythians and Cimmerians worked placer mines all over the region. The surviving Greek gold coinage and Scythian jewelry both show superb artistry. The Roman Empire furthered the quest for gold. The Romans mined gold extensively throughout their empire and advanced the science of gold mining considerably. They diverted streams of water to mine hydraulically and built sluices and the first long tombs. They mined underground, also, and introduced water wheels and the roasting of gold-bearing ores to separate the gold from rock. They were able to more efficiently exploit old mine sites, and of course their chief laborers were prisoners of war, slaves, and convicts. A monetary standard made the world economy possible. The concept of money, i.e., gold and silver in standard weight and fineness coins, allowed the world's economies to expand and prosper. During the classic period of Greek and Roman rule in the Western world, gold and silver both flowed to India for spices and to China for silk. At the height of the empire, AD 98 to 160, Roman gold and silver coins reigned from Britain to North Africa and Egypt. Money had been invented. Its name was gold. Gold is a metallic yellow metal. People have been familiar with this metal since ancient times. It has been known as a very precious metal since ancient times due to its unchanging properties, glossy color, easy means of exchange, and durability of the structure. The practice of making different types of ornaments with gold still exists equally. Naming. The chemical name of gold is aurum, which is derived from the Latin word aurora. History of discovery. Gold is thought to be the oldest element discovered by humans. Gold products were used even in the Neolithic age. They have been found in many excavated specimens of that era along with stone objects. The famous German sociologist Karl Marx too identified gold as the first metal discovered by man. It has long been used as the main criterion for money because of its unchanging appearance, easy distribution and glossy nature. Gold is associated with many of the world's most painful widows and horror stories. Countries have fought for the right to gold, and countless people have lost their lives. Again, no one got peace, even after owning gold. Because the fear of losing gold would come after getting it. Ever since man has learned to be socialized, and gradually social classification has started, people have started extracting gold from mines. Since then gold has been used to make ornaments. At that time the methods of gold refining were not well known to the people. For this reason, gold and silver alloys were originally made, which was known as a gem. There was also another natural alloy of gold and silver called electrum. Gold was used in all ancient nations. The pyramids built by the Egyptian emperors have been excavated, and many gold ornaments and items have been recovered. The Egyptians have been studying gold for a long time. From the 4th to the 16th century, alchemists tried hard to find gold. Their main purpose was to stone search. According to their belief, it is possible to convert alkali metal to gold through Parsa stone. Alchemists had more reasons behind this idea. If iron had been lying in a copper mine for a long time, it would have been covered with copper. Alchemists thought that iron had turned into copper. From this they also came up with the idea that it is possible to turn other metals into gold in this way. They play a leading role in this. However, the Egyptians were able to make the best progress in this work. They knew the secrets of gold mining. Gold has a deep connection with Egyptian tradition. Besides China, India and Mesopotamia belonged to the states in the 10th century BC, gold was used. Gold coins were in vogue in Greece in the 8th-7th centuries BC. Gold money was used in Armenia in the 1st century BC. The oldest gold mines have been found in India and the Nuria region, northeast Africa. Alchemists have made great strides in the study of metals. Silver with naturally occurring lead sulfide found in mixed state which is sometimes extracted. They realized that silver is not created on lead. Rather, identical elements combine in different proportions to produce all objects. This idea developed among alchemists. Many of the alchemists sought the Parsh stone to make gold from other metals, many sacrificed their lives. But there was no truth in it. Science has not acknowledged the existence of something called Parash Pather. However, the spread of alchemy did not stop there. The Spaniards led campaigns to conquer South and Central America. Alchemists were overwhelmed by the abundance of gold in ancient Inca after the European colonization there. To the Incas, gold was the secret metal of the sun god. A large amount of gold was kept in their temples. In Acabasadero, a great leader at Tajayalipik, when the Spaniards captured the Incas' ransom that had been promised as a 60 cubic meter gold may seem incredible. The Spanish general Francisco Pizarro did not release him, but killed him without waiting for a ransom. When the Incas found out about the killing, they were carrying 1,100 llamas carrying a huge amount of gold. They hid the gold in the mountains of Azangar. But they could not hide their wealth for long. Occupying Cuzco, Peru's richest city, the Spaniards plundered much of it, as well as gold. 1600 Russia and the gold extracted from the mine begins. However, the amount was not too much. Gold mining has multiplied since 1900. Heavenly source theory. According to astronomers, gold particles are constantly falling in space like rain. All the gold of the world is also obtained from such ancient cosmic gold rain. The explosion that occurs when a collision of two neutron stars or the union of a neutron star with a black hole is called kilonova. Recent research has shown that heavy metals, such as gold and platinum, are constantly being created in space through this kilonova. These metals are falling like rain in space. As much gold and platinum as there is on Earth, it is derived from the collision of an ancient neutron star. Colored gold. Although the pure gold color is very yellowish, there are many other colors of gold in the market. These colors come from alloys of other elements mixed with gold in different proportions. For example, if 14% gold and 10% alloy are mixed in a hybrid, then the obtained gold is called 14-karat gold, 18% gold and 6% alloy is called 18-karat gold. It is often expressed in the form of a fractional ratio, for example, 14/24 is equal to 0.575, round off, and 16/24 is equal to 0.750. Thousands of such alloys of gold are possible, but usually silver is greenish when mixed with gold and reddish when mixed with copper. The use of 50/50 copper and silver alloys as alloys is the yellow gold that we usually see in the market. White gold is an alloy of at least one white metal, nickel or palladium, with gold. Like yellow gold, the authenticity of white gold is also expressed in carats. The religion of white gold depends on the proportion of any metal used as the base. As a result, white gold hybrids can be used for a variety of purposes. Nickel hybrids are used in ring and pin preparation as they are hard and strong. Gold palladium hybrids are used in gemstone ornaments as they are slightly softer. Other metals such as copper, silver, platinum are also used as alloys due to their hybrid mass and durability. This, of course, requires a trained goldsmith. White gold on the market refers to any whitish carat gold. Many people think that the shiny hard rhodium plating on the white gold ornaments is the color of white gold. White here refers to a hybrid of gold, ranging from pale yellow to brown, or very pale pink. In goldsmithing, this non-white color is often covered with rhodium gold. Ng. Contact allergies. About 1 in 8 people are allergic to the hybrid white gold nickel mine. One prolonged use can cause a light rash on the skin. White gold, usually made from alloys other than nickel, has less allergic effects. Pink, red, and reddish pink gold. Rose gold is a type of gold and copper hybrid that is used to make special types of ornaments. Due to the copper mine, it has a reddish tinge, so it is also called red gold or pink gold. This gold became very popular in Russia in the early 19th century, so it is often called Russian gold, although this use of the term is no longer seen. Although one of these terms is used as a complement to the other, there is some difference between pink, red and reddish pink gold. The higher the amount of copper in the ditch, the redder the color. In a conventional hybrid of reddish pink gold, the mass ratio is 75% and 25%, 18 karat. Since rose gold or reddish pink gold is a hybrid, there is no such thing as pure red gold. Pink gold hybrid. The most carat version of rose gold is called crown gold. It is 22 carats. 18 karat red gold is a hybrid of 75% gold and 25% copper. For 18 karat rose gold, 4% silver is usually added to 75% gold and 21% copper alloys. In the Middle East, 14 karat gold is often found, with copper deposits accounting for 41.6%. The use of red gold in musical instruments. The finishing of flute instruments often uses a type of reddish gold metallic alloy, commonly called red gold. But it is actually a thin copper layer placed on top of a thin silver layer. It does not actually use any gold. Green gold. In the preparation of green gold hybrids, only silver is used as alloy with the exception of copper. Its color is not really green, but slightly greenish yellow. 18 karat green gold therefore contains 75% gold and 25% silver. Enamel coating sits well on such hybrids. Gray gold. Gray gold is made by mixing silver, copper and manganese in certain proportions with gold. 2. Black gold. Black gold is also a type of gold used in ornaments. 3-4 Black gold can be made in a variety of ways. Electroplating, where electrolytic solutions of rhodium and ruthenium are used. The black layer is harder when using ruthenium than rhodium. 5. With the help of patina, sulfur and oxygen compounds. Condensation of chemical vapors with the help of plasma, where gold containing cobalt and chromium is burned in the presence of carbon and oxygen. Nowadays, the method of giving black color to the surface of any metal by laser method has been discovered. Applying femtosecond laser pulse on the metal changes its outer surface nanostructures. And its surface area is greatly increased as a result of being elevated to a nanoscale. This extended exterior can absorb virtually any light. Purple and blue gold. Purple gold, also called purple gold, is a hybrid of gold and aluminum. The amount of gold in it is about 69%, so it can be called 18 karat gold. Purple gold is more fragile than other hybrids of gold. It can be crushed by a sharp blow. Instead of making ornaments with purple gold, it is usually used as a gem in ornaments. In the same way, blue gold is a hybrid of gold and indium. Pinchback alloy is a form of brass. Brass is made from a mixture of copper and zinc. Copper and zinc are mixed into pinchback alloys in such a way that it looks like gold. The alloy was discovered by London-based watchmaker Christopher Pinchback in the early 18th century. At that time only 18 karat gold jewelry was sold, which was beyond the reach of many ordinary people. As a result of the development of pinchbacks, the common people used to buy jewelry made with pinchbacks to meet the demand for gold jewelry. At that time, pinchback jewelry was used in ordinary coaches, where there was a possibility of theft. The original pinchback was made by Christopher Pinchback and his followers until the 1930s. One unscrupulous goldsmiths later released the pinchback as gold. Over the years, jewelry made of pinchback alloy metal has come to be known as cheap imitation gold jewelry. 2. Nowadays, depending on the goldsmiths, the jewelry is the original pinchback or pinchback coating on the metal. Gilt metal is a metal-coated material. A pinchback watch in the collection of the Metropolitan Museum of Art use of pinchbacks declined sharply in the second half of the 19th century. Instead, low-carat gold leads. Low-carat gold jewelry was legalized in 1854. 3 Pinchback alloys typically contain 69% copper and 11% zinc, or 93% copper and 8% zinc. Gamkeru is a type of keru or bangle used by both Assamese men and women to enhance their beauty. Gamkeru is an old ornament in the world of Assamese jewelry. In earlier times its use was very common, but now Bihanak dancers are also seen wearing gamkeru. Assamese men and women wear it on their hands, that is, rings and keru are the main types of non-gender ornaments. 1 Gamkeru in the past, gamkeru was worn by the family heads or elders of the missing people. They used to call the head of the family or the elders as gum. From there it was named gamkeru. 2 In the past, only men wore it, but now women are also seen wearing it. Features and method of making. Assamese jewelry making methods in Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan and South Asia, and it can be said to be similar to the traditional method of making jewelry of other countries and nations of East Asia. These ornaments are made with the help of various accessories. These ornaments are usually made of various low-quality metals and the gold is melted, and a certain amount of gold coating is applied on it with the help of a spray machine. This method is called Sonapani Charoba by the local Assamese. Usually the shape or form of Assamese jewelry is inspired by the biodiversity and shape of Assamese musical instruments. Gamkeru ornaments are made in a similar manner to other Assamese ornaments. Gold and silver are mainly used to make gamkeru. However, silver gamkeru is more prevalent. Some gold is also used to carve vines and flowers in gamkeru. 3 types. There are different types of gamkeru. Some of the notable ones are pure gold gamkeru, pure silver gamkeru, gold plated gamkeru. Many people in Assam also call gamkeru as muthakeru. But gamkeru and muthakeru are basically 2 different ornaments. Gamkeru is usually thin and is made in 2 ways with a silver coating on the inside. The cost is lower if made thinner. It is in vogue all over Assam for the price and availability of silver gold water charoba gamkeru made in Barpeta. Naming. The word silver comes from the Assyrian word sirpu or silber in the Gothic language, which is the English synonym for silver. Silver's scientific name is argentum, a Latin word probably derived from the Sanskrit word argenta. The word argenta in Sanskrit means white like light. History of discovery and existence of silver has been known to man since ancient times. Even in ancient times silver was more valuable than gold. Because gold is mainly used as coins and ornaments, but silver is also used in making pottery in addition to being used in them. In ancient Egypt, the ratio of gold to silver was 2.5:1. There is a strange story about a pot made of silver. The commander of the 4th century BC Greek Alexander Persia and Phoenicia right in India attacked. Here the Greek soldiers contracted a strange intestinal disease and insisted on returning home. The generals were less affected by the disease than the soldiers, although the generals also took an equal part in the suffering of the soldiers. Although no reason for that was understood then, 2,000 years later, scientists have now found an explanation. The soldiers ate in tin containers, and the generals in silver containers. It has recently been discovered that silver dissolves in water to produce colloidal solutions that destroy harmful germs. Although the solubility of silver in water is quite low, it is sufficient as a disinfectant. From ancient times the people know how to find silver. There are plenty of these mines in Spain, Greece and Germany. Silver mines were discovered in the United States and Mexico after the discovery of America. Often led to a mineral element found in silver ore. In ancient times silver was extracted from this ore. At first the ore was ground and washed with water and dried. Later it was melted down by a beagle. The hybrids produced were burned with charcoal. It is safe to say that silver is not oxidized in the presence of air, but lead is almost completely oxidized and produces oxides. Melting point of lead oxide 698 degrees Celsius, and in the case of silver it is 960 degrees Celsius. In this way almost pure silver could be obtained. However, at present a more efficient method of refining silver has been invented. Gold as well as silver was used to make money. Even though the price of silver is higher than that of gold, at one time it started declining. In 184, the price ratio of gold and silver stood at 1:15.5. The discovery of silver deposits in Australia puts the ratio at 148. In 1818, the two-dimensional system, the method of determining the value of money using gold and silver together, was discontinued in England. Later other countries also abandoned this method. The two Russian currencies are the ruble and the kopeck. Rupa is associated with the history of their naming. The ruble was used in Kievan, Russia in the 13th century. It was actually a 200-gram mass cast mold. It was made by casting a large bar of silver. Then it was cut into slices to make coins. In Russian, the word rubit means cut into slices. The word kopek came much later. In 1534, a picture of a horseman with a spear was printed on the coin. Kop also means spear in Russian. Kopeka came from their valuability. As of August 1, 2012, the market price of silver per troy ounce was $28.50. 1. The ratio of gold to silver. Copper is a chemical element whose symbol Cu comes from the Latin word cuprum, and its atomic number is 29. Copper is a flexible metal and its thermal and electrical conductivity is very high, so many electrical wires contain copper wire. Pure copper is very soft and has its own bright color, but on contact with the weather a reddish-orange faded layer is formed on the outside. Copper and many alloys of copper, such as bronze, brass, etc., have been human companions for many thousands of years. Many copper mines have been found in ancient times. In Cyprus, Latin Cyprus, the most significant mines of the island. According to many, the English name of copper is copper, Latin cuprum name cupruma, the term comes from here. French chemist M. According to Bartlett, people have been familiar with copper for more than 5,000 years. According to many, this identity happened even earlier. Bronze has long been the most widely used metal. This metal is basically a hybrid of copper and tin. These two basic substances point to a special age in the history of human civilization called the Bronze Age. It is possible to explain why copper played such an important role in building the age. The abundance of copper in nature is of the medium kind. In the early days, people used only naturally occurring copper. But the increase in demand for the ore people are forced to extract copper from. It is quite easy to extract from ores which have an excess of copper. In the 3rd century BC, copper was used to make various tools. Copper tools were used to cut the large pieces of stone used to build the Egyptian pyramids of Cheops. The discovery of bronze was a revolution in the history of human civilization. All stone accessories were then replaced with bronze. Evidence suggests that bronze was used as early as 3500 BC. Bronze sculpture gained special prominence in Greece at the beginning of the Mycenaean period. Apart from this, another wonderful alloy of copper is brass. It is prepared by melting zinc ore with copper. The use of copper, bronze and brass was known in ancient Egypt, India, Assyria, Rome and Greece. Both copper and bronze were used to make weapons. Altai-Siberia and the Trans-Caucasus excavations in the area have uncovered bronze and copper knives, arrowheads, shields, and helmets from the 8th to 6th centuries. In Greece and in Rome, shields and helmets were made of copper and bronze. Brass is a type of alloy made from a combination of zinc and copper. The amount of copper and zinc in brass can vary and it is possible to make different types of brass with different properties. Brass has been used in China since 500 BC. Paperweight, left, designed in brass. Production edited. Copper has a melting point of 1063 degrees Celsius, while zinc has a boiling point of 906 degrees Celsius, so it is first melted by applying high heat to the crossbow. Zinc is then added to the liquid copper in appropriate proportions. At this stage some zinc can be lost to evaporation. After mixing zinc, any other metal can be added if required, such as lead or aluminum. The liquid mixture is then poured into a mold of appropriate shape to make a brass billet or slab. Brass sheets are made by cold rolling method. Structured brass and bronze are not the same substance. Brass is a hybrid of copper and zinc. Brass usually contains 6% copper and 33% zinc. However, it may contain 55 to 95% copper. On the other hand, the amount of zinc can be from 5 to 40%. If the amount of copper is high, a pink tinge appears in the golden brass. On the other hand, when the ratio of zinc is increased, a silvery tinge appears. Some lead can usually be added to brass hybrids. Brass may contain about 2% lead. Adding lead increases the mechanical usefulness of brass. In addition to lead, brass may contain small amounts of silicon, manganese, arsenic, phosphorus, and aluminum as other metals. Religionate brass is a metallic substance. Its density is less than 7.5 grams cubic centimeter. Brass does not oxidize easily and does not corrode. It is also resistant to bacteria. So it is used a lot in making dishes. Its melting point is higher than bronze or zinc. The melting point of brass is 900 to 940 degrees Celsius. Brass is not attracted by magnets. Friction does not cause lightning easily. It is a heat conductor. 2-Eucydipris is thought to have been used since prehistoric times. Idolaters make bronze idols and place them in temples and houses. Many statues of Buddha are made of brass. Brass is used in decoration to make it look as bright as gold. In addition, low-friction materials such as locks, gears, bearings, door handles, bullet casings and valves are made of brass. It is used in musical instruments and in electrical and water lines. Attraction to gold is a very ancient human nature. In the present era, gold is extracted from various mines. But extracting gold from nature is not very easy. Moreover, if such metals can be produced, then not only bad, but such precious metals will be more readily available. From such greed, people have been making various efforts to produce gold since ancient times. However, all human efforts to produce gold have been thwarted by a kind of bacterium. Surprised to hear? It should be a surprise. But before that, let's take a brief look at the long history of human pursuit of gold production. It is said that gold is the oldest element discovered by man. Gold products were used even in the Neolithic age. They have been found to exist with stones in many excavated specimens of that era. However, in the previous era, people did not know much about the methods of refining gold. For this reason, gold and silver alloys were mainly made then. Which was actually known as M. Also, another natural alloy of gold-silver existed. That is the electrum. Gold is naturally found in such conditions in nature. Image source: a scripture called Alchemy was created in search of gold. Those who practiced them were alchemists, was known by name. From the 4th to the 16th century, alchemists tried hard to find gold. They believed that precious gold was scattered all over the world. He tried to convert all the metals found in nature, especially iron, into gold. Their main purpose was to search for stones with which if you touch any object, it will become gold. According to their belief, if iron was left in a copper mine for a long time, it would be covered with copper. And because of this, they think iron has turned into copper. From this idea, they make sure that they can convert other metals into gold in this way. But they largely failed. However, they gained special prominence in research on metals. They assumed that all objects could be produced by combining identical elements in different proportions. Many alchemists looked for side stones to make gold from other metals. Many sacrificed their lives. But there was no truth in it. Science does not acknowledge the existence of something called Paras stone. However, the alchemists did not stop. They continued their practice. Alchemists are busy producing gold with different metals. Even Aristotle believed that all objects are actually made of the same substance, the proportions are just different. Because of the difference in proportion, some substances are iron and some are gold. It would be wrong to say that it was only antiquity that Sir Isaac Newton, a scientist of the 18th century, also ran in search of this gold. He was, of course, somewhat successful. In the 20s, Nobel laureate Fritz Haber went to sea to search for gold. After the tragic defeat in World War I, Germany was cornered by the Treaty of Versailles of 1919. The burden of various conditions is imposed. One of the conditions was that Germany would provide 130 billion gold to France, England, and Russia as compensation for the war. However, after the war, Germany's economic situation has deteriorated, and after its defeat, so much compensation has become a death knell. Just then, the German scientist Fritz Haber suggested extracting gold from the sea water. He thought that seawater was rich in magnesium, chloride, sodium, and potassium. So he can produce gold by processing these. And will be able to repay the debt on behalf of the country. He himself led this experimental work. He hoped to extract at least 75 milligrams of gold from 1 metric ton of water. But sadly, he failed. Moreover, the cost of this work discourages the government. As a result of his gold cultivation attempts also failed. Attempts have been made to invent various ways to produce gold since ancient times. However, no one was so successful. As usual, they could not be fully successful. There has not been much success in the production of gold in return for the tireless work of the ancient alchemists, nor of Newton and Haber. If they only knew the secret, they could really make gold. It might not have been so hard. What was the secret news then? In 2009, US scientists claimed to have found a type of bacteria that could turn waste into gold. It would not be appropriate to say yes, but it is their job. The scientific name of the particular species of bacteria, Capariabhidasa metalligeranasa, Cupriavitus metalligerans, microscopic Capriavitas metalligerans bacteria. Image source, Satecdaily.com. Scientists at Michigan State University in the United States have studied this particular species of bacteria. Research has shown that these bacteria can produce 24-karat gold as waste by consuming a special type of toxic liquid. The researchers found samples of the gold in the laboratory within a week after placing the bacteria in the soil with the actual given toxins that were born in the soil. The researchers said that the bacteria of the species Capriavitas metalligerans survive in adverse toxic environments. They can make pure gold from a toxic liquid called gold chloride. However, when the liquid is mixed in the soil, it has no value. It does not even retain the natural properties of gold. But when it is processed by metalligerans bacteria, it becomes a precious metal. Researchers Kazim Kashefi and Adam Brown have invented this process of making gold from bacteria. By bringing these bacteria to the laboratory, they have succeeded in producing 24-karat pure gold. The researchers left Capriavitas metalligerans with gold chloride in the laboratory and waited for a while. Bacteria absorb that fluid, and then they excrete the waste from the body. And the researchers collected pure gold from that waste. Researchers have called this method microbial alchemy. Production of gold from bacteria by microbial alchemy method. Image source, HindustanTimes.com. Production of gold from bacteria by microbial alchemy method. Image source, Schechter.asm. Kazim Kashfi, an assistant professor in the Department of Microbiology at Michigan State University, said of the astonishing discovery, "We have been able to master the use of microbial alchemy to convert toxic substances into gold. Researchers were able to successfully produce gold from bacteria." Image source, HindustanTimes.com. With the process of gold conversion by bacteria. Image source, HindustanTimes.com. Not just metalligerans bacteria, there are many more bacteria that can convert ions or toxins into gold. On February 3, 2013, a research paper on the subject was published in the online edition of the Nature Biology journal. In the article, scientists from McMaster University in Canada and Western University said that there is a type of bacteria called Delphasia acidovirans which can convert ions into gold. However, these experiments have an adverse effect on the environment, so its production in the laboratory leaves scientists hesitant. And that's probably why it's not seen to be mass-produced.